Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
All right, everybody, you know what time it is. Every Tuesday night at 8, it's time for another insightful and exciting edition of the MCW Cast. I'm Legacy MCW announcer Larry Legend.
I'm MCW promoter Dan McDevitt.
And I'm Tara. Welcome to the cast.
Indeed. And hey, episode 46. Can you believe it? We are almost to 52 episodes, which will mean
One
we are
year.
one year.
That's right.
Hard to believe.
Yeah.
And thank you, everyone who's joining us on Facebook or YouTube or on our major podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Radio Public, and CastBox. Thank you for listening. And, of course, thank you to our coffee club members as well. It is getting cold out again, so we are all back on the hot coffee, not the iced anymore. So thank you for that.
That's right. And happy holidays,
Yeah,
everyone.
we're an
Sure.
eventful week this past week. A couple big events, not just Thanksgiving, which I hope all of you guys had a good Thanksgiving.
I had a lovely Thanksgiving with my two aunts, Aunt Cynthia, Aunt Wendy, and my mom, Waverly. And that's what it's all about, is getting together with family and breaking bread and just enjoying the time that we have together on this earth.
Yep.
So
I got lucky. I had 2 Thanksgivings.
Oh, wow.
I know. I haven't done that in a while, so that was nice. I like
That's
Thanksgiving.
awesome.
so
Yeah.
It was good.
Well, also, Larry, happy belated birthday.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I am now 40
Wow.
years old. And also about to celebrate an anniversary of getting involved in pro wrestling. The first time that I ever announced was for here, MCW Pro, on December 4th, 2002. So 19 years in, when we celebrate.
This Saturday.
That's
Seasons
right.
Beatings.
Seasons Beatings.
Right.
I'm a 40-year-old man, and I'm about to go into my 19th year of being a pro wrestling ring announcer. So
So that's a good lead-in for this week's edition of the MCW Cast, because we're not going to have an in-studio guest, but it's going to be basically a pre-show.
That's
We're
right.
gonna kinda
Right.
go a preview for the show for Seasons Beatings, because this is one of the most important ones we do, because it's also Toys for Tots. We love, this is probably our 5th or 6th year helping out. So if anybody's coming to the show, please bring an unwrapped gift this week to Seasons Beatings, the Saturday at the MCW Arena, and you'll be able to get a picture with Santa's helpers.
That's
that
right.
We'll be having here to take pictures and just help out a great cause.
Absolutely. It's the season of giving. It starts with Thanksgiving, and I feel like we should just spread that all year round. But this is the time that you actually can tangibly give something to bring a smile to a unfortunate child's face. And, that's what Christmas is all about. It's about the kids, and also it's about giving and bringing those smiles to the faces. So please, if you can, an unwrapped toy, bring it on down to the MCW Arena on December the 4th as we celebrate 2021's edition of Seasons Beatings.
And Larry's anniversary.
And my anniversary. And hey, this is a significant thing. This is our show to close the year out. And what a year it was. This will be our last offering for 2021. The next time you'll see us will be 2022.
We may have something that we may be adding.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we may
late
have
breaking
it.
news from the championship committee. You want to spill the tea? Or
We'll probably make the announcement at Seasons Beatings. We
Yeah,
might be
we
adding
might have.
something.
All right.
So we
You
might
never
have
know.
one more. I guess we can't use the term final battle. That's copyrighted by Ring of Honor.
Indeed.
But we may have one more event we'll announce this weekend.
And speaking of Ring of Honor, I feel like I was watching Ring of Honor TV over the weekend, and I saw a few familiar faces that were accompanying Dalton Castle to the ring. Dalton Castle is known for having his boys that fan him and kind of, do the whole presentation, the fanfare of Dalton getting to the ring. And I felt like I saw a few of the MCW Academy students that got that great opportunity to appear on TV. What a bonus that must have been for those students to.
And was that the show? Did Dalton Castle win the ROH TV title?
Well, what I saw was Dalton observing a match. I believe he was
Okay.
observing a match between Dak Draper and. Put me on the spot here. But whatever the case may be, he had 4 of the boys. And even though they were masked boys, I think that I could pick out a few of those faces. And, it's really, really a moment of pride to see a lot of our kids up there doing the thing with Ring of Honor. So shout out to Ring of Honor Wrestling for assessing and grabbing up some talent. Wasn't too many years ago, they pulled Leo Rush and had him a part of something. So, the sky's the limit.
And they got, I guess, give them a plug. Their
Final battle.
Final battle is
December
11th?
11th, yeah. December 11th, yep.
So about a week and a half away, and that's on pay-per-view.
That's on pay-per-view, yep.
Yeah.
And will be their last show for the foreseeable future until the next
they're
year.
taking a break.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Dak Draper, and that is actually, he is in our Flashback Friday match for this week. It is Dak Draper versus Kakoa versus Joe Keys from 2019 anniversary.
Awesome. And I just remembered it was Eli Isom. It was Dak Draper and Eli Isom. And I don't know what the story is because I haven't really been following Ring of Honor as closely. But, Dalton has his eye on Eli Isom, I think.
Gotcha.
And it was kind of making him feel a little uncomfortable, distracting him. But it was a great match. Dak and Eli had a great match. And it was also, like I said, just a bonus to see a lot of our kids down there doing their thing and appearing on TV.
All right.
Well, very good. I guess we get to our first break and come back and get right into it.
Yeah, well, also I wanted to bring up our guest from last week was Luke Hawks.
Yes.
And you affectionately referred to our students as kids. And Luke Hawks is an example of someone who really did start as a kid. And if you didn't check it out, make sure that you go back and listen to that or watch that episode because it was really enlightening talking to him. And, of course, we've known him for years. And I'm just seeing how his career arc has, just carried him so far and onto just so many amazing opportunities. So I really enjoyed speaking with him. And, of course, I love heels. So I got to ask a lot of heels questions that I've been wanting to ask for like months.
And it's great that they got season 2.
Yeah,
They're
I'm
gonna be
looking
doing
forward to
season
that.
2. I actually found it interesting. The show. I thought it was good too. I thought it was a great
Yeah.
show.
Now, have you watched it yet? Because I know you said you were going to.
Now, I'm a very busy legend, okay? So in between, shows in Tennessee and New Jersey and, here, there, and the third, I don't really get a lot of time to consume shows. I am watching Chucky because, I'm a huge horror movie fan. So Chucky is my one show that I'm into.
Is that a show now?
Oh, yeah. They have it on the USA Sci-Fi. I guess they're one network or whatever. But yeah, it's like a series with the doll, the famous doll.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. And it's
Okay.
it tackles a lot of LGBTQ, topical issues. And in particular with young kids that are experiencing, going through feelings. So I found it really, really not only, just macabre with all the blood and murders and everything, but also kind of very touching and sensitive. So I am going to catch up to Heels. I promise you, Luke. I know you're listening, and I didn't know anything about this show really besides that it existed, but I will catch up with season 1 as soon as I get done Chucky.
Good. Dan, are you watching anything right now?
I am not. But the last show that I did watch was Heels.
Okay.
But I'm not. I don't have anything that interests me. I like a lot of the serial killer shows and documentaries on serial killers and stuff like that. But what just popped back up, and I haven't. It's just because it's. I'm afraid it's going to disappoint from the first season. Is Tiger King?
Oh yeah, I haven't watched that yet.
I haven't. I saw a lot of people say. And I saw a lot of people say it's disappointing because they just tried to, they talked about like him trying to get, do you remember when his attorney and they was appealing to Trump and trying to get, and like right up to the day Trump left office, he actually had a limo. Did you know that?
I didn't know.
Yeah. His attorneys were trying to appeal to Trump. But then, like, after all the stuff that the January 6th stuff happened, I guess they explained that they had a meeting to meet with him to try to present the pardon. Yeah. But then all that stuff happened, so his last couple weeks in office, the last thing he cared about was meeting with the Tiger King attorneys. Yeah. But they had a limousine actually waiting right up to the day Trump's last day in office, sitting there waiting outside the jail, basically waiting for him, thinking that Trump was just going to sign off on this and he was going to go.
Wow.
Probably had a film crew and everything ready.
I mean, there was a lot of this, but apparently, like, after that, it's just kind of like, like they just tried to, like, squeeze everything they can out of a whole other season.
Well, he just got transferred to another hospital because he has prostate cancer. And they just transferred him to another hospital. I got to be honest, a prison is the last place I'd want to be with something like cancer.
I didn't realize he had that.
Yeah, he actually got diagnosed in there, which kind of is kind of alarming because that's one of those cancers that by the time you see it,
a lot of times it's too late.
It's too late. Yeah, unless, like, I don't know, do they give colonoscopies in prison? Maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe they call it in routine screening. I didn't see a lot of information about it, but I did read, I think it was only last week that he just got transferred to another prison to get medical care. So maybe know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
so I haven't been too quick to jump into that just because, like, the first season to me was so freaking good.
Yeah.
It was so good. It's
Oh, yeah.
like, I don't want to, like, ruin it. You know, I get, like, money and all that. They had to try to get it because it did so good, but I don't know if I don't know if I want to.
Some things you just want to preserve the way that
Yeah.
you remember
Yeah.
them, and if you revisit it's actually kind of like the Halloween Kills. You know, they're doing these Halloweens now because they, I guess,
Yeah,
wanna-
they're, like, retelling the stories,
Yeah.
too, which is...
yeah, and it's like I like old Jamie Lee Curtis
Right.
fighting her brother. Now they're both like in their 60s. So how am I supposed to believe that?
Yeah.
You know, she's that much of a bad, you
Yeah.
know what, and so is he. And it's the nostalgia. It's hearing the music. You know, you see like your favorite characters make a cameo,
Yeah.
but the actual content is kind of crummy.
Yeah.
But you know what content is not going to be crummy is Seasons Beatings
right.
on December the 4th right here at the MCW Arena. And with that said, let's go to our first break.
And then we'll get right into it. We'll come
Indeed.
back.
Hey MCW fans, you do not want to miss our show December the 4th, Seasons Beatings, right here in Joppa.
That's right. We've got 9 action-packed matches on the card, and you do not want to miss them. But you know what? Before we talk about those matches, this night is important for another reason, and that's because this is our annual Toys for Tots donation drive. So we ask you, MCW fans, when you come to our show on Saturday, that you bring a new unwrapped toy for any age child and leave it at the door. And in return, you will get to get your picture taken with Santa's special helpers, right?
Yes, absolutely. 'Tis the season for giving. Definitely come out and make sure you bring a toy with you.
That's right. This year has been hard for a lot of people, and we just want to give back and make the children's Christmas memorable for them.
So let's get into the matches. We're not going to go over all, but we have a women's four corners match with Gia Scott, Nikita Knight, Quinn McKay, and Erica Lee.
Yeah, Erica Lee is making her MCW debut, and Quinn McKay is returning to MCW. She debuted in the ring at Hollywood, Maryland, and now she's joining us here in Joppa. So I know that this Four Corners women's match is going to be exciting, and you're going to love it.
And we can't forget about Action Andretti versus James Ellsworth. He is the new Shane Shamrock Memorial Cup champion. He'll be accompanied by Scarlett Bordeaux, and James Ellsworth will be with Ryan McBride.
That's right, and the two of those have a lot of history between them when it comes to the Rage TV title, so it'll be interesting to see if any of that comes into play during the match.
And last but finally not least, we have a steel cage match with Moses versus Brian Johnson. Now these guys have had a bit of a battle leading up to this.
They are angry elves.
Very angry.
Yeah, so it's going to be locked inside of a steel cage match. No escape. So you do not want to miss this. MCW fans, get your tickets now. We will see you Saturday, December 4th.
And get those tickets at mcwprowrestling.com. Don't forget your toy.
And we are back here in studio ready to present this preview show of our huge Seasons Beatings extravaganza on Saturday night, December the 4th, right here at the MCW Arena.
9 big matches.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot to get through. So let's run down the tail of the tape, as it were. Let's talk about what the fans are going to see, the MCW faithful are going to see here at Seasons Beatings.
I guess the first matchup.
Big tag team extravaganza, as I call it.
Yeah, this is kind of like a mix and match tag. I guess, it may have been on social media. It was supposed to originally be Napalm and Solo versus Killian and Miles, but Solo unfortunately tore his bicep.
Yeah.
Wow.
And is going to require surgery, so he's going to be out for a pretty significant amount of time.
Jeez, yeah, those muscle tears, those are not a
And he's got big muscles.
right. Yeah, I remember with Triple H tearing his
mean,
quad. It's
yeah.
not, the doctor was like, it's not a average size
Right.
quad, so it's a way bigger
Yeah.
tear that you would see, with an athlete. So that is unfortunate, but G-Fed seizing the day here.
Yep, G-Fed, and we were going to kind of switch things up just to give people a little inside baseball here to G-Fed and Rayo versus Miles and Killian, but Rayo was actually in Orlando doing AEW Dark, so wasn't gonna. It's kind of how. So we just put
G-Fed and Napalm, two very successful tag teams. So it's kind of like a throw together because for Killian and Miles, this is basically their second tag team match.
Well, something about G-Fed, that he is such a versatile and I think kind of flies under the radar.
Yeah, he does.
He really does. But he's so versatile and so adaptable. Like, you might look at that and be like, G-Fed and Napalm. I think it's going to be great because he's just great to work with. I mean, he's just a kind of quiet, unassuming guy, but so smart.
Multiple time tag team
Absolutely.
champion. Not just in MCW, but in other promotions as well.
I dare say a tag team specialist.
Yeah.
Really?
That's a term that we don't hear as much anymore.
Yeah.
But, Marty Jannetty was always referred to as a tag team specialist.
Yep.
Can partner with anyone and have spectacular matches.
And I think it's fair to call G-Fed a veteran at this point.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Heck yeah.
He's got to be he's been around probably going on 20 years.
Yeah.
Been around
I think
20 years
so.
and been in many different arenas that we've held our shows in, from the North Point all the way to the MCW arena current today.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking forward to it, and definitely looking forward to seing Killian and Miles together as the
Yeah,
trade.
and how they're evolving, right?
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
They got
Yeah.
the tape. They kind of got put together.
Uh-huh. You know what it reminds me of? It's reminiscent of old ECW. Remember how sometimes ECW would just start with like, a tag team established like Roadkill and Danny Doring against like Tajiri and Mikey Whipwreck or something like that. And you'd be like, oh, wow, never thought Mikey Whipwreck and Tajiri would be put together. And then they strike fire, and the next thing you know, they're a team and on to tag team gold.
Yep.
So
Well, Miles and Killian on their first tag match together at Autumn Armageddon in Hollywood were successful against Robbie and Bobby, former multiple-time MCW tag team champions.
Yep.
And we do we do the birthday parties, of course, and sometimes those kinds of pairings happen organically. Killian and Miles both do the birthday parties regularly, but another one that comes to my mind is Robbie and Bobby. They were a birthday party thing that the
Tag
two
team
of
that
them
came together.
they came out together. I'll never forget it. I was sitting there at ringside. I was announcing that birthday party, and I texted RJ in the back, and I said, "You got to watch these two." And then next thing you know, they were on a show and they had such great chemistry together. So those pairings that on paper maybe that's not going to be that great, they sometimes do turn out to be the best.
Yeah.
And speaking of those birthday party findings, we can't forget about the legendary Rock and Bowl Express.
All right. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
That was my favorite one that came together.
So in the past, we've created magic with these pairings, and who knows, at Seasons Beatings, we may see some magic created right in this tag team bout.
Definitely, a lot of tag teams coming together and the tag team division's heating up. So who knows? Maybe Napalm and G-Fed end up,
Sticking together, sticking with
together.
it. Yeah. What would we call them? Ebony and Ivory? I'm kidding.
You can say that. I
Yeah, all right. That's why I did.
If I said it, it would be
We
racist.
canceled.
But we're canceled. Since you said it, it's okay.
All right. Well, what else we got on deck at Seasons Beatings?
All right.
Ooh.
Four
This
corners.
match I'm looking forward to.
I bet you are.
Yeah, and I'm really happy. This is, our women's division's really coming together. I kind of felt like the last couple years we had kind of stopped focusing on it, and I think it was really important to a lot of us to get back focusing on the women's division. We got a lot of women coming in and competing, and this Four Corners match between Quinn McKay, Nikita Knight, Erica Lee, and of course, former multiple-time MCW Women's Champion Gia Scott. But I'm really glad to have Quinn McKay. She's competing with us. She was exclusive to Ring of Honor, and they've altered their contract stuff so where she can, Quinn can start to do indies, and I'm really happy to have her as like a permanent part of the MCW Women's Division.
So this is her first time wrestling in MCW.
No,
correct?
she was
wait,
at Hollywood.
That's right.
She wrestled on Hollywood. She wrestled Amber Rodriguez. She won.
That's right. That's her first time here in Joppa.
Yeah, first time in Joppa.
Right.
She was at Artem Armageddon Hollywood and defeated Amber Rodriguez, another former MCW Women's Champion.
Well, it's not Quinn's first time wrestling, but I got to tell you, one of the most heartwarming things for me, and I'm sure for you as well, Tara, and especially you, Dan, us all being 20-year veterans when it comes to this game, is seeing the debuts, the
Yes.
wrestlers who finally make it to MCW, and that would be Erica Lee. She
That's
will
right.
be debuting. I know Erica Lee from a lot of different companies, the Cassandro Cup, Paris is Bumping, IWTV, original programming, if you will. and I'm so happy to see her finally get an opportunity here in MCW. We just had Tony Deppen finally debut, Casey Navarro at the Shane Shamrock Memorial Cup, and I got to tell you, a lot of these wrestlers have MCW Pro as a goal, a long-term goal to wrestle in MCW because we're 23 years in, with our legacy. So yeah, it's going to be a great opportunity for Erica Lee and Nikita Knight coming on back.
So give us a little background on Erica Lee, because pull the curtain back here. I guess Tara actually brought her to me.
Oh, right on.
She worked a birthday party a few weeks ago, and
birthday
she worked Gia Scott.
Okay,
and they had a great match. And afterwards, I sent you pictures during the match, and I was like, this girl's great. I just loved her personality, and she just brought something different. And I just thought, oh, she could fit in really great here. And she had said, oh, I've wanted to work here for so long.
Yeah.
And I guess it's not really a secret, but the birthday parties are kind of the way in for a lot of people.
But
and
also, there's so much white noise. Like for me, because as a promoter of MCW, I get slammed so much.
Oh God,
and I could literally spend 2-3 hours a day just responding to people that are so you kind of got to find a way to get through the white noise. And we're I can't imagine what it is for like Ring of Honor and places like that, but we get it a lot. So that's the thing too. You talk about people wanting. It's so hard to get through the noise because I have to block out so much, because otherwise I just have to sit and respond to people trying to get work. It's kind of overwhelming,
Well, that's where you have a
Right.
Tara
Well,
and a Larry to
like
kind
this,
of
right.
let you know.
And actually, Tony Deppen, you were the first person that started bringing him to my attention. I was like, okay, looking at him some stuff, and then I reached out. And he had a great match with Action Andretti.
He was great,
at
and he's
Monster Mash.
local too. So
He's local, but he's in high demand.
He is.
So it was
yeah.
great to get him for that Monster Mash. And hopefully we can see him again, but I am just so excited to see Erica Lee make her debut. A funny story about Erica Lee, I've announced her for a few years, and I feel like every time I announce her, she has a new moniker. Because I think she's trying to get it right. At one point, she was the Gummy Bear Kid. And I was like, the Gummy Bear Kid? And she's like, yeah, because I'm bouncy. And she is, she bounces to the ring and just has high energy. Yeah, so.
She reminded me of like Bailey. You know what I mean? When
good
she
analogy.
made her debut. She just had that vibe. Like
kids are going to love her.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
So she's got a couple years experience.
Oh, yeah.
A couple
Actually,
years.
A lot.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I was looking up some of her videos, and I went back 10 years. I mean,
That long?
Wow, I didn't know that.
I think it was that long. I'm almost positive.
You're probably right.
So what other promotions have you seen her at, Erica?
So Erica Lee, actually, I met in, there are a lot of LGBTQ shows that are popping up here. I know the GCW has Effie's Big Gay Brunch, and Billy Dixon, a DC wrestler, Billy Dixon, puts together a show called Paris is Bumping, which is kind of an homage to Paris is Burning, the old LGBTQ documentary about the ballroom scene. And that's when I first met Erica Lee. And she did a 4-way match involving women and men and transgender wrestlers. And then Billy did another show called the Cassandra Cup, which was to honor the legendary Exotico, is what they call them in Lucha Libre. Exotico. You really can't tell, is this a woman? Is this a man? But Cassandra, legendary. And I saw Erica Lee there. And she's all over IWTV, Camp Nowhere, I believe or Camp Leapfrog, I believe it's called. She's a staple there. So she's got a lot to bring to the table, and I am excited about this, excited as you are.
So this Four Corners match is probably, I'm going to assume, the winner of this really set up for probably a shot at the women's championship.
I hope so. You're the committee.
The championship committee.
Yeah,
sure.
you and Phil. So
well, I think I could definitely see it going to. I mean, any of them. I know Gia is hungry to get that title back.
Well, she's the best damn woman.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna find out when she's got Erica Lee and Nikita Knight and Quinn McKay to tend to.
All right. I guess after that, the next match is
classic Eric Martin.
Classic Eric Martin, a former MCW Cast guest.
Jack Draper, too.
Mile High Magnum.
Both of them, actually.
Yeah.
He was on one of our first ones with Quinn.
That's right. And the dog, when I took that tumble.
Half Thor. I loved him.
That's right,
Cute.
Dak, too, another one that with a, changing Ring of Honor contract status and allowing essentially allowing their contracted performers, with how things are changing, to take independent dates. Obviously, Dak's right in this area and reached out, and I wanted to get him on because obviously he's an asset, as both of those two are.
Absolutely. That should
yeah.
be a barn burner hoss fight.
So, yeah.
Okay, and if you know me, I'm a big Boss Man fan, a Bam Bam Bigelow fan, a Vader fan. I came for Hoss. Okay, so to see these two big old bulls get in there and lock horns, I'm expecting fireworks. So,
and Eric, he's been treading water and had a couple, slipped on a couple banana peels and trying to get back on track. So he's got a high task ahead of him this week with Dak Draper.
So we haven't been given too many predictions here. Do you have a favorite in this one, Tara? Do you think?
Boy, it could go either way, really. I don't know that I can make a call.
Two solid wrestlers, man. Just like solid. I don't honestly, and I know this is a cliche, I don't think I've ever seen Dak or Eric Martin have a bad match.
Yeah.
No.
Like a match where I'm like, oh, that was a real stinker. So when you take two guys like that and put them together, it's going to be, like I said, a barn burner, and I'm looking forward to this one too.
Yep, definitely one that either the Rage title or heavyweight title.
Yeah,
probably.
in contention for it after this one. Yeah.
All right, after Dante Caballero
The hits just keep coming.
against Robbie.
That's right.
And I tell you what, and me and Tara have talked about this. I've been so impressed with Portia.
Yeah.
Where'd she come from, right?
I know.
Yeah.
I said this to Tara. I said I'd seen some of her promos in the last couple months and was like, where did this girl come from?
I love her promos. She's so easy to work with too.
Yeah.
So I love when we put her on the list and she's got a promo, because it really brings out that character side of her too. And she just embraces that character so well.
I'll tell you this much. I don't know much about Portia personally, but I can tell you one thing. I love her gear. Every time that the cartel comes out, my eyes are on what Portia has on, and it's just so great that what's coming out of that performer matches how spectacular she looks.
She has that it look.
Oh, yeah.
She has that it look.
Oh, yeah.
And so does Dante. For
Oh,
that
my
matter.
gosh,
And
yeah.
I
Let's
think
not sleep
they're
on
amazing
Dante
together,
Caballero.
I mean, Dante, and this isn't taking anything away from Robbie. Dante's one of those guys just that to me has the whole package, and I keep waiting to hear that one of the other companies is coming after him.
They gotta have him under their microscope, under their looking glass to bring him in. And he was actually on an incline with ROH before everything happened. So, fingers crossed that ROH is able to
kind of pull things back together.
Yeah, and get Dante. And
obviously, there's lots of rumors going around the internet, but nobody knows anything.
Right.
And they're building an all apparently booked for a Supercard of Honor.
That's right, April. April is the date. They will be doing something. They already have announced we're doing something in April. We're taking like a sabbatical, so sky's the limit. We never know.
Yeah, so I think I think just to kind of touch back on that, like people take for granted how much financial toll, because let's like say something really obviously positive about Sinclair and Ring of Honor is for that whole year and a half,
money.
They all of their contracted talent they paid, and they didn't have a single show.
Right. Not only that, think about the expense of the remember the bubble?
Oh, when they were doing shows again.
Yeah, when they were doing them and we're doing the
tapings.
the amount of money and the fans that kind of give them crap, they have no idea. They had a higher safety protocol than any of the other big companies that were running. It was so because of the Maryland State Athletic Commission, but Sinclair stepped up and did it, and they just spent a massive amount of money and took care of all their talent. I mean, in the probably millions.
Dan, of
yeah,
course.
Easily.
I know what some of those guys were making. The Briscoes, Jay Lethal.
So I think maybe they, from a big company, a big corporate company standpoint like Sinclair, they probably just need to kind of regroup.
Right.
Regroup and reorganize, and let's hope, because Ring of Honor is a really important part of the ecosystem of professional wrestling.
Absolutely. And real quick, because there's another person up there, and that's Robbie. You want to talk about high energy? I got to tell you, anywhere on the card that Robbie is, whether he's with a tag team or by himself, it is just 150% energy that enters that ring, all eyes on him, and he really elevates any match that he's a part of. And just like with Dak and Eric Martin, I can't imagine anything but just spectacular action out of this contest, and I'll be looking forward to it. I guess I'm looking forward to the whole show.
All three of them in a match sounds good too.
Absolutely. So tip of the cap to the championship committee for putting this together, and I am looking forward to it as well. Oh, yeah. Right. What do we got next?
Pat Brink and Alec Odin against Lore Diaz and Angel Alvarado.
That's right, of the cartel.
With Portia again.
Also
She's got a
Portia.
busy night.
She does have a busy night.
Oh, yeah, wait a minute. I remember at Monster Mash, there was kind of some dissension backstage between Dante and the rest of the members of the cartel. Didn't they like walk out on him or something? Or
they were having
they were having words.
They were having a bumpy road there.
Yeah, it didn't seem like So I want to see how that's going to play out. Maybe there'll be some sort of.
Well, it's like when you have a large family and there's infighting among the siblings. They can get along and be a happy, loving family, but, sometimes off on the side, maybe not everybody's getting along quite as well as everybody thinks.
Yeah.
And they're like a big, happy family, right?
Yeah, but, the thing about it is like, of that big, happy family, Dante is clearly the shining star, former MCW champion, and in a lot of instances, that big shining star can kind of eclipse the other members of the family that actually are the backbone, the support for Dante to get to the level that he is. So,
well, that's a great point. He's the one that's had all the title matches. He's the one that's been champion. The other ones in the group may be starting to feel like they're playing second fiddle.
Yeah. So maybe the cartel can get together and get themselves in tag title contention.
They got a tall task.
Tall, meaning Pat Brink and Alec Odin. They are tall.
And too big, pretty physically impressive. Obviously, Pat, a long-time veteran.
20
years.
20 years as well. Yeah.
Signed with WWE a couple times and spent time down in FCW and NXT. But he's in a great mentorship role for young Alec Odin. But I think they could end up being a real force in the tag team division.
I mean, look at them.
They're the Ivory version of
right. Now you can say that, right?
Right,
yeah,
I can say that and not get canceled.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that one. But
and it was unfortunate because when I saw them two together, that was a match I wanted to head towards.
Pat against
Alex?
Alex?
I'll say it now because I was like, those two together, like we're not going to be able to get to it, at least not for a significant time.
Yeah.
Pat and Alec versus Napalm and Solo.
Oh,
that I wanted to head towards.
My gosh,
but obviously that's kind of sidelined. At this point in time. So that was something I was like, man, this is something that could be one of those matches that people like. Oh yeah, this is, you know what I mean. This is a physically impressive match. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And don't judge a book by its cover, because you look at it on the surface and it's like, oh, Pat and Alec, they're going to eat these guys alive. But with that third person out there, Portia can provide quite the distraction.
And the bull, he's kind of always.
Oh, the bull's there lurking around too. Yeah, so
he's always lurking somewhere.
That's right.
I've never seen him not up to something suspicious when he's at ringside, come to think of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, exactly.
When he's not making Dante's drinks, he's up to something shady.
You said it. Well, look, we've got a couple more matches that we want to go over on the preview.
Break,
let's take a quick preview here from Danny Mays, and we'll be right back here on the MCW Cast.
Fuel the MCW Cast by visiting buymeacoffee.com/MCWcast. And for just $3, you can buy the cast a coffee. Or you can choose to become a member of the cast for just $5 a month and get several additional perks. That's buymeacoffee.com/MCWcast. Show your support for the MCW Cast while sporting some great gear by going to teespring.com/stores/MCWcast. You can pick up a full line of official MCW Cast merchandise, from coffee mugs and face coverings to t-shirts and sweatshirts. Visit teespring.com/stores/MCWcast.
All right, we are back, and we were just going over some of the matches that we have coming up at Seasons Beatings this Saturday, December 4th. We hope you'll join us there.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Let's keep them running down.
We got
Did we go over 4 or 5? Did we?
I think we went over 5.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We went over 5.
Five. So we got 4 more. I guess here we are, the women's champion, Ray Lynn, who's really kind of helping really revitalize the women's
Indeed.
division.
Mhm.
Being
Talk
a-
about somebody who has a lot of energy.
Oh, yeah.
She's got that same kind of vibe, that just exuberant energy. She just literally bubbles over. I love doing interviews with her as well.
And not just in the ring, on her social media. I've been following Raylan
yeah?
closely ever since she kind of came and started her path to success
Okay.
here in MCW, and she's just a hoot. I highly recommend you follow her on Instagram and Twitter. She's constantly putting out content,
Okay.
and kind of that content that always brings a smile to your face. So shout
yeah, a
out
lot
to
of
her.
positive, and she's
Mhm.
super talented, and
Mm-hmm.
another person that's really getting out there. She's done a lot of AEW dark matches,
Mm-hmm.
and so has her opponent,
Mm-hmm.
Layla Gray, who is from down in the Florida area.
Oh, okay.
And she's been doing a lot of AEW dark stuff
Okay.
herself.
Now, I'm not as familiar with Layla
Me
Gray.
neither.
Okay.
Me neither. Yeah.
But she's in contention. She's got a title shot here, so she must have something
Okay.
that she brings to the table for.
And we're gonna have her on a podcast that we're gonna tape, so we'll be able to sit down and talk more with her.
pick her
Okay.
brain a little bit.
Yeah.
Well,
for-
I can tell you she's faced several tough opponents, such as Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I'm not familiar with her either, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing her against Ray Lynn, because I just love Ray Lynn. I think she's just fantastic. So
Yeah, well, with those two names
Yeah.
that you just mentioned, Nyla Rose, former AEW Women's Champion, and Thunder Rosa, who is
Definitely a future AEW. women's
indeed, and two formidable women's wrestlers. So I'm looking forward to seeing what she brings in when she tangles with Ray Lynn for that championship.
and this is one that's been building for a while, and it's interesting. It kind of ends up with some old MCW tie-ins here,
Indeed, it does.
with Action Andretti taking on James Ellsworth, and Scarlett Bordeaux is going to be with Action Andretti, and King McBride is going to be with James Ellsworth. And obviously, people may remember that Scarlett Bordeaux is a former Rage TV champion.
How mind blowing is that?
Yeah, and
How
she
would-
beat King McBride.
Oh, okay. So now this
There's
is
history.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and of
Absolutely.
course McBride won the title back from Scarlett. This was pre her WWE NXT signing, but that was a big moment in MCW, and so they're going to be in opposite corners, and obviously this thing with Action Andretti and Ellsworth has been building for a couple months.
Well, Ellsworth says that he should have been rightfully crowned Shane Shamrock Memorial Cup winner because he pinned Brandon Scott at Autumn Armageddon and
Right. Except-
not Waldorf. I'm sorry, I can't remember.
That was Millersville.
Millersville. Thank
It
you.
doesn't work that
Yeah,
way.
I know it doesn't work that way, but finally now Action Andretti can be like, okay, you beat him by hook or by crook, now beat me. Okay? And we'll see. We'll see if you rightfully can claim the Shane Shamrock Memorial Cup Championship.
And all the momentum in the world right now is with Action Andretti.
Yes, indeed
Coming
it
off
is.
the Shane Shamrock Memorial Cup, and he's really quickly becoming probably one of the more popular guys on the MCW shows. The fans are really taken to him.
Absolutely.
It was funny. A friend of mine texted me the other day that comes to the shows, and she was like, "Hey, I'm getting my hair cut, and this lady's getting her hair cut, and her son's got an Action Andretti shirt," and texted me, and I
Oh,
was
wow.
like, "Yeah, he's quickly becoming pretty popular, you know." And if you're out there listening, I think he's going to be one of the breakout guys that you're going to start seeing on the independent scene. Seeing a lot of.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's already gotten an opportunity with Game Changer Wrestling, which is one of the heavyweights out there in the indie, spectrum.
Have they used him? Has
They've
Game Changer-
used him. So he went up to Atlantic City just to provide support, and I mean, like sweeping the ring of glass, crowd control, and then it was a weekend-long event, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all GCW events, and they used him for a pre-show for one of the GCW shows, and I heard that was a amazing opportunity for him. And he also has been part of the new resurgence of CZW. We all know CZW. Kind of a lot of our guys have gone through there on their way to wherever. And Action was one of the first wrestlers that DJ Hyde, who is still involved with CZW, sought out as his new kind of like, hey, CZW's still around, and we're not just the deathmatch stuff. Let's show you some quality wrestling.
So let's talk about that real quick too. As a sidetrack here, did CZW they just came back?
So yeah, it's funny because when you mentioned ROH about having the really stern protocol, CZW just basically said we're not going to start doing shows again until it's safe, or at least partially safe enough to bring people back together. And they first came back with a breast cancer fundraiser, which was a little savvy, if you ask me, because how are you really going to, needle DJ Hyde if he's doing something that's tied in with such a worthy cause as,
So he was getting a lot of crap, DJ.
He still is getting a lot of crap, Dan. He is one of the most polarizing figures in all of pro wrestling, indie wrestling, because of just things that he said on shoot interviews or things that have come out of his mouth in passing and ways that he's made.
People who have worked with him.
Or
Right.
people who have worked with him, But he's really, I can't say that I commend him, but he's really kind of taking like I'm behind the scenes now with the new CZW, and I think he has to. Because the more that he's out there, the more it's going to do a disservice to guys like Fred Yehai and Action Andretti and whoever he's, using for his shows. But yeah, they are back. They did a show on November 21st. They've got a show coming up on December 19th, I believe. So
now, are they running at the old ECW arena again?
No, they are running out of their training facility in Blackwood, New Jersey. So essentially they have a school where they are still training. I believe Roxy Cotton and the Rep are their head trainers. Was Jimmy Rave, who we spoke about Jimmy Rave losing his limbs not too long ago, a few casts ago. But they are the head trainers, and they just kind of
Gabby Gilbert.
That's right. Well, I don't know her as Roxy Cotton, but
she was here as Roxy Cotton.
Right, yeah.
Ages ago.
Yeah,
like maybe
yeah.
2006, maybe?
Over
I
in
don't know.
over in
It was
the green room
Yeah,
was when we had
yeah.
her. But they just basically take their facility and they put the pipe and drape up so it looks kind of more like an arena, and they have a limited capacity crowd, and they've been doing some. I haven't seen any of the shows, but I've heard great feedback, and Action's on there, so the shows can't be half bad if they're using quality like Action.
And CZW, I guess everything with DJ wasn't there like a split? Isn't that kind of how GCW Game Changer kind of started, right?
Well, GCW, yeah, and it's funny because I was associated with both brands for a number of years, but Brett Lauderdale and GCW wanted to start giving the fans what CZW used to give the fans, because CZW had kind of lost its ways, primarily due to the stewardship of DJ Hyde and decisions he had made and things that he had said and people that he'd worked with and alienated. So, GCW really started gaining a lot of steam by just basically saying, hey, remember the old CZW that we used to love? Come here for that now. So yeah, it's an interesting story. It's perfect for a soap opera, but Action has been doing some stuff up there, and I'm going to be looking forward to seeing him tangle with James Ellsworth and finally shut his mouth. And I can't wait to see how combustible it's going to be between Scarlett and Ryan McBride with the history they have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
After that, we get into the Rage TV Championship.
Oh yeah.
This is a potential show stealer right here.
100%. As we go down these are all marquee matches.
This is going to be a great show.
It really is.
On paper, absolutely, it's going to be a great show. I don't think anybody is going to be at all disappointed.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of our regulars were previously booked for another promotion that had given them the day, like Ken Dixon, Drolix. But there's a lot of, when these things happen, a lot of other people stepped up, and but I think we put together what's going to be a really great show.
Well, there's only so many weekends in December. Like that's a really tricky month because
month.
You kind of got to do it the first weekend,
and you
maybe the
don't
second
want to get
weekend.
too close to Christmas.
Yeah, like I don't even book parties past the second weekend in December just because it's too hectic. They wind up not having people come or whatever. But shows are the same way. I mean, you got to really get those in there that first or second weekend, and then everybody just does their holiday thing, and
Kakoa versus Joe Keys for the MCW Rage TV title. And maybe this week, if it is finished, hopefully, the winner of this match will be presented with a new MCW Rage TV champion.
I don't think there's ever been a belt in MCW history that's needed an update and a fresh look more than the MCW Rage TV title.
That title has some history on it, though.
Yeah, I remember when Jeff Jones unveiled it.
Yeah.
I remember.
At Michael's.
Yeah.
Michael's 8th Avenue.
I remember.
Talk about wear and tear.
Yeah.
Talk about wear and tear
Well,
on that
you know,
title.
it really just represents that era, you know, with the flames on the side, and you know, it really that was that late 90s, early 2000s style, that kind of, you know.
I've
you know.
seen the plates. I'm really looking forward to the fans seeing it, the new belt. Obviously, we wanted it a little bit before then, but we're working with the belt maker that has the contract with AEW.
Oh, okay.
So he's been tied up. Yeah, speaking of Jeff Jones, they kind of connected us with that. So he's been a little tied up because he's obviously contracted with
Yeah, he's
AEW.
got to make some belts for the big show.
He's got to make some belts for them. So it hoping it's going to be done this weekend. The last time I checked in, that was the goal. But I'd like to be able to present that belt with the winner of this match. But Joe is a former Rage TV champion himself, and this is actually the match to me. This is one of the matches that I'm looking most forward to. I think this is going to be a great match.
Yeah, well, when the title's on the line, it's always just that much more significant. So, these two athletes, decorated, they're going to test one another, and only one will emerge champion at the end of it. So we're going to see.
Yep. And, Kakoa, I want to call him out for a second and say he moved to Florida, as everybody knows, and he still maintained that commitment to MCW.
Absolutely.
He comes up here, flies up for every show. Like, he is still very much, MCW runs through his veins, and so this means so much to him. And, he's obviously like a fan favorite as well. He's always got a line of people waiting to see him and talk to him, and the kids love him. So I just feel like he is going to hang on to that title for all that he can,
He's definitely a top fan favorite.
Oh, yeah.
In MCW. And Kakoa is another guy, much like Dante. I give a shout out that his time, he's a guy that he deserves that opportunity. He deserves to be in one of the major promotions. Unfortunately, it seems like right now, when you talk about like the Ring of Honor restructuring, and obviously it's very common news of everybody, WWE unfortunately made a lot of roster cuts, which is, there's obviously a lot of speculation as to what's happened on there. But just to kind of touch on that, I just read the other day, I didn't realize it was this much. Somebody was reporting they released 80 people this year in 2021.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's been ongoing releases.
Just this year,
right?
That blew me away.
Yeah?
80 people this year. I know there was several groups, but I didn't realize it was 80 people. That was shocking when I read that. I was like, "Is that right?" And then I started reading down the list and was like, "Yeah, it actually does look like."
Well, they had a lot of people under contract.
Yeah, I think,
and they still do.
They still do. Yeah,
I think that's kind of. And it's probably one of the things that hurt Ring of Honor, in the sense of, there was this, and it was right before the pandemic. Like, AEW was coming on the scene. They were starting to lock people up. WWE then started locking people up, and I guess Ring of Honor was like, well, we got to guarantee some money too. And I think it was probably bad all the way around. Like, it was good for talent,
but a little overkill.
Overkill, and then companies, you can only put out so much money, and then they go, "Whoa,
what have we done here?" Yeah. So
we're in that time, but there's it's all timing, and there's a lot of politics. Obviously, people getting hired, but I think Kakoa is a guy that he's one of those guys, him, Dante, guys that, and not to take anything away from Joe Key, because he's another one too, that I wouldn't be surprised at any time if they get snatched up.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're looking forward to that one. And guess what? While all that's going on, better for us, because we get these we get to do these quality matches, and the guys get some notches in their belt.
Then the big main event.
Oh my gosh.
First steel cage match in a long time.
Yeah.
Moses and Brian Johnson, and this one's gotten really personal.
Yes, it has.
Really personal.
Yes,
and,
indeed.
I don't know if anybody saw the way that the match ended at the Shamrock Cup for the heavyweight title was scary as hell.
It was a big kaboom, and we were concerned.
Two guys, this was a big bump off the top rope to the floor, and it was scary.
Through a table.
Yeah, it was scary, and it ended in a no decision, no contest.
Well, guess what? They're not going out of the ring through a table in this one because they're going to be confined.
Confined in a steel cage, and
Moses is determined. I got to tell you, I've really been impressed with him the last couple months because Khan, and I still get people, we've talked about this, and I don't know if they've talked about it on social media, but I'll get like inboxes from our regular fans and stuff where they ask about Khan. People ask, like, did something happen with Khan and MCW? No, he just moved to Texas.
Yeah, he's in Texas now.
Just being really transparent.
Yeah.
He moved to Texas, and he moved out there, and he's out near Shane Taylor. So he moved out there. So a lot of times all this traveling and all, it doesn't work out, whether from a financial standpoint or so he's out there, and he's actually doing a lot of single stuff in Texas.
Yes, indeed.
I see him if you follow him on social media. He's wrestling for a lot of companies down in Texas. And so the Sons of Savagery or Soldiers of Savagery.
Right, yeah.
Are still a team. They're the current reigning 6-man tag team champions in Ring of Honor. But I've really been impressed with how he's stepped up as Moses. To me, I'm watching Moses promos and stuff, and I'm like, really? He's really looking like a star.
He's come a long way from Q the dog.
From Q the dog.
Q the dog.
I will
I'm really
always say it
impressed
just
with
to
him. I
pop
think he's
Dan.
really, I know.
How about this?
Q the dog will always be my favorite.
A little
know.
trivia. Does anyone remember the last steel cage match here at MCW?
Here or the last steel cage match that MCW had?
The last steel
Like in
cage
Joppa?
match in Joppa. Was it McBride and the Bruiser at?
I don't know. I was thinking the last one was in Hollywood
And
with Joey and RJ Bruiser.
Was that the last one?
what was our
That's the last one I remember. I'm sure
Ask
that it wasn't the last
our director?
one.
Ken Dixon against. That's
2018.
right.
You're right. You're right.
2018,
Okay.
yeah.
2018. Dick
Oh,
Clark.
yeah, that was the career.
Season's Beatings. It was
Season's Beatings. We
That's
did
right.
cage matches in December.
That's right.
Because the McBride Bruiser was a steel cage match in
Okay.
December.
Well, they're, from a production standpoint and all, they're kind of a pain in the butt to do.
So do it at the end of the
That's
year.
hard.
Yeah.
Especially on the road.
Yeah, on the
Oh,
road
gosh,
to set
yeah, I
up
can
and
imagine.
just taking the
You got to
cage,
have
so-
another truck.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot.
So that's been
It's a
3
lot.
years, huh, John? 3 years. Seasons
Okay.
Beatings, 2018. So, wow, you forget like the whole global gimmick thing. It's 17 months. It's still like that. It's like it's I don't know. Sometimes I feel like that time didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like we were just on pause, but it did. So that's one of the reasons it's been 3 years because pretty much a year and a half we were just kind of stagnant.
Yeah.
Well, what a great way to refamiliarize our fans with how we do a steel cage match when Brian Johnson puts the MCW championship on the line against Moses.
Now, Brian Johnson is no fan favorite. I mean,
Not
he
at
is.
all.
I mean, if he could, I don't think it's possible for him to make more people mad.
He tries to fight the crowd.
I mean,
he
he's-
literally puts that flag in their face and is like, "I'll fight you.
Yeah.
I'll fight you. I'll fight your dad. I'll fight your grandma." And I'm like,
He just doesn't care.
And he takes a lot
No.
of cheap shots.
He
and
does.
That's
Yeah.
one of the reasons I think too this has kind of gotten personal.
yeah,
Because of the way he won the Bruiser
Yeah.
Strong Rumble and won the title, and Moses was the last guy, and Moses was one of RJ's, obvious, top students,
Yeah.
and prize students, and he's taken some personal shots at RJ, and I think it's just gotten really personal here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
you know,
agree.
for that.
I wouldn't be surprised if Moses bounces him from pillar to post within the confines of that steel cage. But crafty. If there's not one thing that we can't say
Yeah.
that Brian Johnson is, it's crafty. Like a seasoned vet. Old school. So Moses better be on his toes inside there because you never know.
But this is going to be a good one. I think they're all show stealers.
I
All
think
the
so. Like I
matches
said,
are
all
good.
marquee matches. All marquee matches for
You're not going to
different
be
reasons.
disappointed if you come out to the MCW arena for Seasons Beatings this week.
That's
right.
And don't forget the unwrapped
I
toys.
was
That's
just going to say that.
You read her mind.
Sorry.
Wait, I got a better one for you. Why don't you stop by Hideaway Collectibles first, pick up your tickets to the show, and grab some toys off their shelves, bring them to the show, and drop them off. There you go. And if you've forgotten where it is Hullabird Avenue, right down the street from Jimmy's Famous Seafood, hideawaycollectibles.com. They are our authorized ticket outlet, and you can go there or visit mcwprowrestling.com.
And if a cheap plug for my birthday that just passed, I'm a huge Big Boss Man fan.
Oh,
so if
boy.
anybody sees a Boss Man set, of one of his legendary
Bring two
matches,
gifts.
yeah, Yeah, bring one for the kids.
Unwrap toy for Toys for Tots and one for Larry
And one for
Legend.
me. That's right. Yeah, why not? I might as well plug myself. I turned 40. I think
Well, that's a big one.
Yeah,
so-
it's a big old
all right,
birthday, so.
You can have that.
Awesome.
All right, very good.
Well, with that said, I think that this preview edition of the MCW Cast is about to wrap. We're going to be looking forward to seeing everybody right here at the MCW Arena on Saturday, December the 4th for Season's Beatings.
You make me